Khan, hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Hey, first and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to all you Wakim out there who pushing his word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as to all you believers out there who believe on the gospel. And it's a couple of brothers, from the Great Millstone, Houston camp. I'm the brother Korah Abad, and as always, we got the beloved Adataza Pa, and the Wadi
Con.
Hal Shai, Khan. At the Wadi Hal Bashim Shai for blessing us with another opportunity to come, forth and bring forth, this information, which the important the purpose of bringing forth this information, which you have a lot of people bringing out information in these days, whether it's on TikTok or the news, or YouTube or one of these, sites, underground sites. But the purpose of, the prophets bringing out the information is to link it to prophecy, to tell the people what's to come, the future, really, and what's to come in present time. So the Wadi Hal Bashim Shah again for allowing us to have another opportunity to come prophesy. So we got a couple of things we'll touch on, as you see from the title. And shalom, to everybody on the comment board who tuning in. It says Thursday live food shortages are coming, famines, and a famine of the word. But before we hop into it, Elder Tazapah, if you have anything, the floor is yours.
No, not yet. You good.
Con. So yeah, we'll hop into it. And then we can't say it's nothing going on because there's always something going on, whether we see it or whether we don't. The Lord is always working in the earth.
That's right.
We even know about events of like Daniel, I believe it's the 10th chapter, when the Lord was working on the mind of a king, which I think it's Proverbs 20 or 21, how it says the Lord work on the minds of the kings to make them do what he want them to do in the earth. So think about it. We don't see those things. We don't see what's being put into these kings to go to, what will make them go to war, or to put a tariff on another nation, or to make them press the button, or to make them side with Russia instead of America. But the Lord doing that. So there's always something going on in the earth. As a matter of fact, let's see. Let's get this in Habakkuk 2.
What you got?
Habakkuk chapter 2.
Okay, you got it?
I read it.
All right.
And you can speak on it if you want. It's Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved.
Right, and we stand in that same light today as, the hopefully elect, the men of the Lord. All right, we're on our watch. And this is why we do these lessons and put out these epistles, all right, to keep the fold informed. All right, we got to watch for the enemy, as a good shepherd would. All right, and we know Yahweh Shai, he's the good shepherd, and he has, pretty much brought us up in that light. All right, as shepherds of the fold, those who have eaten the whole scroll and understood it, and are able to decipher these scriptures in the spirit. All right, well, you have a responsibility to feed the flock, and as well as, to watch out. That's the whole point of being on a watch, is to watch out. All right. So we're watching out, breaking down these prophecies, alerting you to the wiles of the devil, our enemy, Esau Edom. All right. He never quits. He doesn't stop. And you have to match his intensity if you're going to defeat it. All right. Or if not, well, I ain't saying just stop there, but you have to match his intensity at least to contend. Of course, the thing is, we got to go beyond. All right. But the whole thing is, it won't be achieved without diligence. All right. And so we give our diligence, standing on our watch to see what the Lord will say to us so that we can, report, and the people will respond accordingly. But go ahead.
Habakkuk 2:2, it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it.
Vision is the prophecies. You got it.
It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
Right. So we see the prophecies are coming to pass. Those that haven't already come to pass. All right. So are we waiting for this MOTB to be mandated? This third woe, Jacob's trouble, of course, and this third woe. All right, and then we're gonna see all of this, famine of the word, everything that comes with Jacob's trouble. All right, go ahead.
You
Oh,
want me
that
to
was
continue
it.
on? Yeah, that was the point.
That's the right. You got it.
All right, So we'll hop into it. And I know this first article, I'm sure we should all be privy to it now, as well as we was going into. If you have been watching, as you had certain apostles, brothers, who elders who may have mentioned it or did a lesson on it. But as you see from the title, it says the Christian. Well, it's from www.christianpost.com. It's a UK site. So it says labor councils seek to imprison street preachers up to 2 years for causing offense and distress. And I'm laughing at the time of pod because Tuesday, man, hey, well, you be there on Tuesdays because if y'all know what would be at campus, like I guess that will be, you would call it a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah,
That's across the street
right.
from us. So on
Yeah,
Tuesdays,
Chevron.
So on Tuesdays, you had them Edomites come out and us just going in, especially the days the Lord might have us talking about Esau. But just the look on their faces, you could tell they're offended. Matter of fact, they had a dude the other day, he couldn't, I think it's Shakar said, he said he can't even hold it in. But he was walking by smoking a cigarette, had his suit on, just shaking his head. But if Christians getting arrested for this and all they talk about is love, or you gonna go to hell, it's probably the worst. They say, how much more the prophets, man?
That's right, Doc.
But again, as we know, these things are coming. We telling Esau they coming. We already knowing they coming. But this just a more so to show, as the Elder Taza just went into at the end of the show, speaking not lie, these things are happening. I'll get a quick precept and we can read a little bit into it if you ain't had nothing on that.
Go ahead. No, you good.
Okay, this Revelation chapter 2. Let's see, Revelation 2. Again, we have been warned. What Apostle Peter said, 1 Peter 4, I believe, when he said, thinking not strange concerning the fiery trials, which shall try us, although some strange things might happen unto us. And why wouldn't we think of strange? One, we already was told ahead of time. We've been praying about it. We kind of put scenarios in our mind. We know the Lord said when Esau come with a great wrath, he go lift up a standard. Like we know these things. We have comfort going into these things, man. But it says, Revelation 2:10, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. And it can happen in many ways. I believe it was the brother of Saints of Jersey. I was watching a video, and the brother mentioned how it could happen either if things get too bad as far as, the economy suffering and, people, Jacob's trouble might kick off. Of course, we ain't gonna be out there on the highways and hedges. Or Esau actually passed laws and we be taken off the streets. The point is, it's gonna happen because the scriptures prophesied about another famine of the word coming. The Lord gonna take away his word at the end. And it's beautiful because not only a famine of word, the Lord really gonna starve these people out, not just taking away truth. And in the time people gonna need answers the most, that's when he gonna take them away. He gonna take them away, and then at the same time, it's gonna be a food shortage, an actual food and water drink shortage, man. Come on, so but let's see. I'm gonna finish this. Revelation 2:10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried." See, we just gonna be tried. Now, this may be the wisdom of Solomon too, how it says some brothers may be tortured, so on and so forth. But even then, even if we have to be martyrs, we already know we're gonna rule when we come back. And we ain't really dying, we just transitioning to the bodies we waiting on anyway. So it says that you may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Now it could be an actual 10 days, it could be 5. It could be more. It could be until the Lord come out. Who knows? But it's the time the Lord gonna try us, man. But the point is, these things are gonna happen to some of the prophets. Every prophet won't be grabbed up, of course. But you got anything else to tell us about before we hop into it?
No, we can get into it.
So this was another article. I had it up just in case it was on telegraph.co, in case somebody wanted to probably had an account with it, but I wasn't about to pay. So we're going to read this one from the Christian Post. So again, it says, Labor Council seeks to imprison street preachers up to 2 years for causing offense and distress. Christians to be criminalized for handing out Bibles, praying for, and laying hands on people. You see, it says a Labor Party run a IUIC. They was in what it was, Kenya.
Right.
Yeah. Going up to people probably with pamphlets, probably real Hamites, but who know their actual heritage, know their Ham, and you hand them a pamphlet talking about Israelites. But it says a Labor Party run council. You about to say something?
No, you good.
Come. It says a Labor Party run council in England has sparked outrage by proposing a sweeping injunction that could imprison Christian street preachers for up to 2 years over claims of causing offense or distress. So not even having to do nothing to people. That's the point. Famine of the word. You don't have to lay no hands on nobody. You don't have to touch nobody. It's just saying what you're saying is offensive. Let's see. It says Rushmore Borough Council covering Farnborough and Aldershot has faced accusations of attempting to criminalize Christians for preaching, praying, and distributing Bibles in public spaces. And all as well. All this in the description box as well. So,
yeah, I got 1 John chapter 2 verse 18. Mm-hmm. Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard, that Antichrist shall come. Even now there are many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. All right, and we read in Habakkuk about in the end it shall speak, referring to the visions or the prophecies. So one of the indications or indicators that we would be in the last time is there would be many Antichrists. All right, and rounding up Christians just for the hell of rounding up Christians is very anti-Christian. All right, and we know that's going to extend into the Hebrew ministries. All right, all of them. And I spoke about this before. All of y'all with these wrong doctrines, following these leaders that sold out, took bags or whatever, y'all will still be persecuted. Esau don't honor no agreement. He don't honor treaties. And if he did make a deal, he made a deal with those leaders, those heads. So y'all gonna be out here with being persecuted without a hedge, without any protection. All right. At least we can call Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you ain't in the right doctrine, you out here on your own, especially with Great Millstone, constantly feeding, we feeding the world. There's Christians eating off of us. Mm-hmm. For real. You got people in the world eating off us acting like they ain't stole nothing off our plate. But we know our doctrine when we hear it, even if it's a portion of it, or they try to, weave it in with some other shit. We know our doctrine.
Or even they mimic our style.
Yeah. But no, you good, brother. But the thing is, see, it's many Antichrists. And so this is why in this world, with all of this, cartels just having it their way, it's Bucktown down at the border. It's just wide open, it's just criminal. Babylon is just criminal activity from border to border, but you want to persecute those who read scripture? See, but it's because we're in the last time. All right.
Mhm.
And this world is super heavy or as I say in the Hebrew, Mashiach. All right. Anti-Mashiach. But yeah, brother, this is Amos chapter 8 and 11, of course. It says, behold, the days come, said the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. And we're at the verge of that. And this is something we've been saying for years that y'all say, man, y'all been saying that. Y'all just say the same thing. Mm-hmm. And now you're about to see why we've been saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When they rounding you up, putting you on the van, driving you to an airport, and flying your ass to Venezuela to go do the rest of your life. This is what they got coming. And y'all out here playing. We'll play grab ass and tickle booty.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's real things coming down the pipe. And any, just a half-assed man of the Lord should be walking in fear. But I guess, that when you lukewarm, you ain't gonna have no fear. But go ahead. That was it. You want to
Kind
speak on that scripture?
Nah, I got one of Brother Parathon posted one. Hey, Shalom Maki Albashim Shah Brakatah.
Because I like that Isaiah 29 too,
Mm-hmm.
and 21. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's on point because it go right with the title. What was just said in his article. It
Mm-hmm.
says
Right.
again, it says street preachers, they could be arrested over claims of causing what? Offense. Offense. Well, let me see what offense means. Nah, they ain't got it. But I wanted to read something real quick that they said, and we can move on from this.
But all the things that offend us, that's fine.
Yeah, it
No,
don't matter.
right. That don't matter. We got to see moles, bows, you know.
Yeah, they don't care about how Lot felt.
Exactly.
Although he was vexed, did nobody said Lot you good? they didn't care how he felt. They
Right.
said, man, you just came here. You trying to tell us what to do?
And
But I read it.
we need to pass some laws for these moles. Yeah, they ain't gonna do that, but they'll
Right.
persecute, you know, those for the sake of righteousness. But go ahead.
I'll read this real quick and I'm gonna get what the brother Parathon posted. This is in that article. It says, in one instance, and look, this is Christians. Man, really, at the end of the day, how much more the prophecy says, in one instance, a member of the
Exactly.
public.
Yep.
Because you know what Christians don't do, they'll say stuff, pass you a pamphlet, but they ain't just tying it to scriptures with what's going on, what happened, history nowadays, the nations, who is who, right? The Lord, his color, what he come and do, the kingdom. They ain't going into that. Well, I'm gonna read it. It says, in one instance, a member of the public claimed that that Christian preaching created a non-inclusive environment. How much more the Israelite truth? It says another complained that hearing religious messages has ruined their day. That's that
Right.
what it
And
says.
then see, and that's the thing. And, man, you brought up the perfect point. They didn't care that they was ruining Lot's day,
Mm-hmm.
but we come to this old weak this weak gentrified point in humanity to where you can't even read. People get offended, but they reading this shit to these children in schools, got this shit in the libraries, but you want to go after the scripture. And this is why Babylon is going to be hit with millions and millions of degrees of scorching heat. All right, because this place need to burn. And everybody in it who on this, this antichrist vibration, this whole anti-Mashiach spirit, you need to be burnt up. Burn smooth up. Because this shit done got ridiculous. This whole world has gotten ridiculous. It's like, and again, it's okay for me to be offended. If I got to walk around on eggshells because you don't want to hear truth.
Oh, I got one for you.
Yeah, shit. All right, but you got it out. Go ahead.
I got one for you because you said that truth. Galatians 4:16, it says, "Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?"
Yeah, that's a good one. Come. And see, that's what, hey, man, we know the doctrine of Yahweh Shai is extremely divisive and controversial. The doctrine of Yahweh Shai. This is why even that term Christ is so offensive to us, because we know Christ is all inclusive. Even you try to incorporate it into Israel united in Christ. It still puts you in that worldly vibration of love and all of that. And then when you get into their doctrine, that's really what they pushing. But they say, oh, keep the law. But everything else is the trappings of the world. Telling the Israelite to get married. In Babylon, you tying them to contracts, to this whore, unnecessarily. That ain't how we do it. That's not our culture, signing contracts. No, the blood was the contract, just like it is with the covenant. The blood is the Jake got to get out of the Esau's fucking mindset. All right, a marriage is a covenant between a man and a woman. It don't need no priest need to be there, do no ceremony. What priest did Isaac and Rebekah's ceremony?
Yeah.
It was a covenant between them. He cut her, she bled, and that was it. He had the token of her virginity. Now you could do the ceremony, but my whole thing is, that whole Christ vibration is one we got to get away from. We got to get away from all of these constructs that Esau set up to keep us locked into his arena of white supremacy. You got to believe his lies to talk about him being superior to anything. You got to believe the lies that he tells. Well, the Lord said, John 8:32, that ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. All right, break you from the confines of the deception and the lies. All right, and going back to coming out of sin. Because this is what the whole doctrine is about, right? You talk about the doctrine of Christianity. It keeps you in sin. It tells you the law is done away with. Well, we know sin is transgression of the law. So if you don't know the law, you're bound to transgress it, thereby staying in sin, thereby keeping Esau, keeping him in power over you. As opposed to knowing the truth, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments to the very best of your ability, and having the Lord shine his light on you, and now taking that power away from Esau. Yeah, and it's done by doctrine. But even, with them vibrations, just like we get on, we speak about the image, all right, of sweet Jesus, that image. And when you call on Christ, if you grew up in the church, that image gonna come into your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, There's a lot of wrong in the world, in Israel, and in the secular world. And the Lord is you know, He bringing a lot to the light. All right, but go ahead, brother. I'll leave it right there.
That's it. This is Isaiah 29 and verse 20. I start at 20. It says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off." And that main one that's going to happen to is Esau. And the same one who did all that going to do verse 21. It says, who did verse 21, as we've seen it happen now. And it says, "And that make a man an offender for a word."
For a word, a word of truth. Yeah. You see how, man, in my research, in my diggings, man, you don't have no idea how many whistleblowers that these people done put under of their own people. People that just want to give you a automobile that don't run on the fraud of petrochemicals, but they run on water and coming up dead. Just people want to break the illusion. But he was given that power. Revelation 20, he was given the power to deceive the nations. So, right, he gonna unalive you. You try to pull that curtain, he gonna unalive you. You know, but see, and again, going back to that power I was speaking about earlier, when the Lord shine His light on you. Yeah, we pull the curtain back and say, look at this goddamn devil.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and what he gonna do? Apostle been doing it for over 40 years. Or 40 years, I think this make 40 years. Apostle Tahar. And they ain't stopped him yet. And won't stop him. How about that? Unless the Most High, like we going into, when the Most High get ready for this famine of the word, then it'll stop. This ain't of us. But yeah, they kill people for a word. Not just make a man an offender. They mock men for a word.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we live. And we behind enemy lines, POWs, and we going hard for Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, in the face of all this adversity, opposition, and the chaos and confusion. Brothers standing strong. This ain't an easy walk. But go ahead,
Kind of, we ain't gonna read this article, but it should be in a description box. But just what you said, people get put to death for a word. So this came out April 17th. Wait, today, April 17th, from shtfplan.com. It says the UK's crime and policing bill could unleash terrifying new censorship powers. Now this go right along with the UK as well. What we just read. People getting arrested for speaking on the streets. And remember, you got prophets out there. We got brothers, elders, and brothers out there. So, but I just want to read this real quick because you said people get put to death for a word. It says the UK government's crime and policing bill poses a formidable threat to free speech in the UK. The bill, which is currently at the committees, and I gotta say this, a lot of times, but I'm gonna stop. But when people read these things, when stuff going in other countries or third world countries, according to prophecy, these same things coming to America. So it just kind of it's like a warning, a warning, like just get ready because this coming too. Don't just think it's gonna be over. We ain't in the days of that no more. Where stuff happen over there and it don't happen over here ever. No, we ain't in the days of that America no more, man.
Yep.
Remember, everybody got to do it. Everybody going digital. All nations gonna have to have that lockdown, so on and so forth, to really implement this digital system and get it how they want to get it, man. To see up everybody how they think is gonna go down, which we know, according to prophecy, the Lord gonna cut that short. But I just want to read this real quick. It says the bill, which is currently at the committee stage in the House of Commons, promises to keep our streets, streets, safe by giving courts a new power to issue respect orders. These orders, check this out, these orders are potentially so draconian. And what's draconian? When any little offense, right? Offense, you could get put to death for.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you want to speak on it.
No, I'm just agreeing.
So that's what they telling you coming. That's what's coming back, and this was put out today, right? Well, that was written on April 13th, but they updated it today. It says these orders are potentially so draconian, and we know, and you know what? We know draconian type measures coming to America too, according to prophecy, Revelation 13. It was once a lamb, now he gonna show the dragon side, the draconian type side. It says these orders are potentially so draconian and wide ranging that they could well end up being used for very different purposes, including silencing anyone who says anything online that the authorities disapprove of. Now, and ultimately what they said, because it says the streets first, then they said online. In other words, he's saying we shutting everybody up completely. Everywhere. Keeping the streets safe, you ain't gonna say nothing on the streets. And online, you ain't gonna better say nothing. Remember those social credit scores coming as well. But that was it on that. I finished this. I don't think we finished it. Back in Isaiah 29 and 21 again, it says that make a man an offender for a word, and that lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. And one of the snares could be what? Him passing these laws. Just like how they try to catch Daniel up. Remember how they tried to catch Daniel up? I know we brought it out a couple of times, Elder Tazapah, when the higher ups in Babylon was jealous of Daniel. So they said, look, let's make a law for everybody in the whole province just to get him caught up so he can't pray to his power, so we can get him thrown and put to death. How much more now that you got multiple prophets out? Esau gonna make laws for and we spread across the world. That's why it's gonna be a worldwide event, Revelation 3 and 10. That's gonna come upon all the world. But the snares could be what? Him making laws. So therefore, if we continue to preach, which that's when the famine of the word gonna hit, or brothers that get locked up, or so on and so forth. The videos, they're gonna cut pages. That's why it's important to get the word now. Who knows when this can happen?
Exactly. That's right.
Remember they talking about the blackout, but it says they lay a snare for him that reprove in the gate and turn aside the jest for a thing of naught. That was it on that though. You had something?
Yeah, right quick. Excuse me. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6. Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. All right. Because he's not gonna wait for it. Or the grace won't be here forever. All right. And day by day, the doors of grace are getting smaller and smaller. But yeah, seek the Lord while he may be found. All right. Go ahead.
We'll read this real quick and we'll play a quick little video from Elder Karatazar. This the brother Paratham again, GMS do or die, Isaiah 59 and 14, and judgment is turned away backward, and justice standeth afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Yeah, truth faileth, and he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. So those who are going to be speaking the truth, and man, I think the apostle Aramlab just said it on one of his lessons.
That's a good one too, though.
Man, if a brother know that quote, I think the apostle just said it, but he was pretty much like somebody said, in the days of universal deceit, speaking the truth would be not offensive, but so
a revolutionary act. What?
I believe so. Let's see.
But yeah, that's the truth.
Quote. Okay, George Orwell. Yep, you was right. It says, in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Yep, going back to this, it says...
Yeah, I didn't know who said that. Who was it again?
George Orwell.
Oh, Orwell. Okay.
But it says Isaiah 59:15, yeah, truth felleth, and he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. And I'll read this one real quick. The brother Kaabia, it says draconian from 1759 of pertaining to Draco. And even today, what that's known for, Draco, as niggas, when niggas will say, they talking about the gun.
Yep.
But what's that used for? As it says right here, reference to laws rigorous, extremely severe, or harsh. So the smallest things, it could be a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a demon on that Draco gun, because even that niggas get that, and that's ain't no telling. But it says rigorous, extremely harsh, or severe.
Yeah, you know they got cursed swords. It's legends of cursed swords that if you draw them, it's got to see some blood.
Mm.
But yeah, shit, it's demons all around this place. Shit.
I put this quick
But yeah,
video.
we got to be the Draco. The Lord say, be ye wise as serpents, harmless as doves. We got to learn to be the Dracos. But yeah, go ahead.
I put this quick little vid. The other Karatas out there in Vegas. It says UK. It was put out 10 hours ago. UK proposed law for up to 2 years. He gonna speak on it, but I'm gonna let the video speak that he had planned, and we can go into the next topic about the actual famine of the food. Matter of fact, let me see if this if it's recording. All right, this is recording. Good.
It's off of the internet. That word is still going. These are not your ways, neither are your thoughts my thoughts. All right, his word shall not return unto him void, but it shall accomplish that which he please, and it will prosper whereto he sent it. So it doesn't matter, whether you lock us up, whether you kick us off of the internet. That word is still going to get out there, and you devils, you're done. You're through. Your whole kingdom is through, and you're on borrowed time. So anyway, let me play this clip.
About GBN tonight with me, Martin Daubney. Now, the Labour-ran Rushmore Borough Council has sparked outrage by proposing a sweeping injunction that could see Christian street preachers in prison for up to 2 years if the injunction is breached. Now, over claims of causing offence or distress. Now, under the proposed terms...
Over causing offence. So basically, when you go to, was that Isaiah 29...
You see, I just wanted to, sometimes, Jake, a lot of people got to see the video, that go along with the article. But nah, that's what it is. They're actually reporting on it. Is the point. It's out there. They moving forward closer towards what the Lord said was going to happen in the latter days, man. But if you when that second Ezra 5, I know it said that when the law was going to take away its truth, and that's when the people was really going to lose it, when the lack of self-control was going to increase. In lawlessness, unrighteousness. But we can move on. That was pretty much it on that. Unless you had something else.
No, I'm good.
But going back in the title, I guess the theme of it says food shortages are coming, and it ain't just gonna be a famine of the word, but it's also gonna be actual food shortages, as is prophesied in the scriptures. And in these, we ain't gonna read this, but events like this is what's gonna lead to those things happening. Right? This was a reaction from China yesterday, how JD Vance called them peasants. And China says, it's put out yesterday from RT News, it says China official mocks US peasants in tariff war jibe. Right? But it goes on how they're going back and forth. But China they ain't backing down. They like, we've been here before y'all. We're gonna be here before y'all. Which that's partially true. That's true. America would destroy it, So, but the point is, these things like the tariffs, and I think you were saying it yesterday on the Tazapaya class, when I asked you, your thoughts on the tariff situation, and what you said was really spot on. How pretty much this could lead to the system falling, and the easy way for the MOTB or the digital system to come in. You know, with everything being in disruption from now when they're talking about trade, you know, trade, the food supply, and also
Exactly.
monetarily.
Yep, exactly. And that's, you know, that's just me. Um, that's my opinion, you know. Well, that's my analysis of it. I see these tariffs as a way that they can control to a degree the collapse. Just like you just said, now they're talking about supply chain issues. Boeing can't get parts. You know, automobile manufacturers can't get chips or whatever. You know, all of this is a slow collapse. Now, you know, we don't know how long this is going to go on, but you know, the markets, they all over the place. I think right now it's down big. I want to say, I was listening to William Mott. I believe he said 200 points down. And see, this is a good way to crash the economy because the dollar, any fiat currency, fiat in general, it's I believe that's Italian for let it be, you know. So that means the people agree to say, okay, the US dollar is the world reserve currency, so let it be. But when people lose faith, you know, with the market going up and down,
Are not
people
paying
lose. Oh, okay. People lose faith, and they take money out. Stock markets drop, people panic, you get bank runs. You know, but you know, we just have to see. But I'm just saying these tariffs could be a good tool to kind of control demo the economy. But yeah, you know, again, that's just my 2 cents. It might not even be worth that. But we just have to wait and see. Go ahead.
I play this quick video and I jump around. This from ones that can see. It says, "Be ready. Food shortages, price hikes, and transfer of wealth are coming to America because of this."
tax
Yeah, and it's
on
a huge. I'm sorry,
Now you
but
got it.
yeah, it's a huge wealth transfer. Shit, yeah, and ever since it's been going on ever since the shutdown, but yeah, it's ramping back up with that move they made. What that was last week. What happened? You know, we played it on last week's show, and Donald Trump did say 2 billion, 2.5 billion.
Yeah, he said it.
But what was because of the tariffs, and then the market dropped, and then they make money. It don't matter if it's up, they make money. If it crash, they make money because they are the shit. They are the market, and they make money by you suckers participating. But yeah, shit. They say the only way to really make money on the market is in shorts. You got to short shit, and to be successful in shorting, you have to have insider knowledge. All that shit's supposed to be illegal, just like Nancy Pelosi. You know, her husband owned the company, and so she got inside knowledge that well, she could pass laws to help his company to come up, and then she invests in the company, and they making money hand over fist. But yeah, man, you know, all this shit is rigged, but it's as the Lord stated, as the scripture said, the market itself, Wall Street, all that shit is a false weight and a false balance. You don't get what even dealing with his banking system, fractional reserve banking. That's a false measure. That's a false weight and a false balance. Because the dollar is issued on debt. The dollar is abominable in itself. That's an abomination. Now, if it's worth when the people said let it be, it was worth $35. Well, it was worth an ounce of gold, which really was $20. $1 was supposed to get you an ounce of gold, And that's a fair weight and measure because the people said, okay, I'm good with that. And then it shot up to $35 from 20 to 35. And then they just took it off of gold altogether. Nixon, 71, old Tricky Dick. And so, yeah, it's just false weights and measures floating around the world. It has the whole world in debt. All right. And that's why the ruble is the #1 currency in the world, or the strongest, because it has least ties to this goddamn Federal Reserve note. It would be the yuan or the renminbi, but the U.S. debt is dragging it down through those treasury bonds. But go ahead,
Con, that's it. And hey, what you were saying, look at this picture. I guess you're gonna speak on it, I don't know. But see how the picture over here got the 15-minute city generating money for the
right.
elites.
Yep.
It says the WEF, UN, the WHO, which even they just people who propped up, for certain people behind the scenes. But I'm gonna play a little bit of it. I'm gonna jump around.
Nations just passed. Of course, this comes from the International Maritime Organization, a group of unelected individuals who are a tentacle of the United Nations that have decided to pass this carbon tax on shipping. And this is the beginning of the normalization of a global carbon tax, something they have been talking about going back.
He's right to sound the alarm on that. That's going to be huge. But that's where all of this is going. Criminalizing you for just being on this earth. That's what a carbon tax is. Criminalizing you for being on earth. We are carbon. The CHO chain, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen chain, that's our main, makeup on the molecular level. But go ahead, this is something to pay attention to. You good,
to the propaganda they would put out in the 60s and 70s about global cooling and global warming. Well, they've gotten to a point now where they've dumbed down society so much so that they're going to move forward with this. And people, obviously, after what occurred in 2020 and 2021, should be looking at these people and calling on mass arrest, whether it's a citizen's arrest or not. These people who were responsible for killing so many people a couple of years ago, who talked so many people into doing something they shouldn't have done, took no responsibility for it, cost people their jobs, cost people their lives, and cost a lot of people their sanity, continue to operate on a massive scale without any repercussions. And now they're moving forward with what really Agenda 2030 is all about. And that is the carbon tax. This doesn't just tax you financially. It taxes you based on your behavior. And that's what they care about most. Dictating.
Hey, what you just said, our way people existence. We, again, social credit scores.
Right, he said it. Yep. Exactly.
How much you eating, if and that's the point. They want you to sit still and do nothing. They want people to sit still and do nothing. That's why they giving you stuff like the Apple goggles. That's why they're giving you all this new technology so you can sit down and go live, go online. That's why they're making this a big thing of streaming and podcasting. Sit at home and do nothing. Stop moving.
Brother. Yeah, that's a good one. A podcast. What was Neo before they got him in the goddamn pod? Yeah. They ain't slick. These devils ain't slick. The scriptures say, we're not ignorant to Satan, of Satan's devices. The Lord got us up on game, Say was Proverbs 1st chapter, say that these scriptures basically had the ability to make wise the simple. But yeah, you got it.
I get it for you.
The Holy Spirit got us up on game, man. He saw Cain. Yeah, we really got to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves.
Yep, Psalms 19:7. It says the law of the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, is perfect.
Oh, 19. Okay, come on.
It says, converting the soul, the testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
That's it. Yep, making wise the simple.
And that
Right quick.
testimony, that's the spirit of prophecy, like so like in
You want to
Revelation.
speak on it right quick?
Yeah, because it says not just the Lord, but also it says the testimony of the Lord as well, make it wise and simple. And what's the testimony of the Lord? Knowing the prophecies, man. Revelation, what it is, 19 and 10. It says that the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. So that's why, as the elder said, just to line back off what he said, that's why we're able to tell these people what's coming. Or if we hear something in the article, or read something in the article, or hear something on a video, we can apply it to a scripture, because these are the things that have to happen. If it's an article that's posted and they say it is not going to be a CBDC, we know according to prophecy that's false, because it got to happen. You know? And that's why we're sure of these things. You got it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Go ahead, brother.
No, you got it.
Make your point.
No, I was done.
I was the one I knew it was Proverbs 1 and 4 around up, but I keep quoting it wrong. So Proverbs 1 and 4 says to give subtlety to the simple. Matter of fact, let's talk about these proverbs, okay? But I'm gonna go straight to the point, verse 4. And it's speaking about these proverbs of the scriptures. All right. It says to give subtlety, all right, meaning an understanding, all right, and not just, an understanding of the ways of how things work and the nature of things, all right. To give subtlety, because the scriptures say that the serpent was more subtle, he had more subtlety than any other beast of the field. But this word, all right, again, as I was saying earlier, allows us to not only match his level, but to surpass him, all right? So it says to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. So that was it. What you got?
Nah, it got some good ones in many different translations for Proverbs 1 and 4. But it got some good ones. Like Amplified says that prudence, good judgment, astute common sense may be given to the naive or inexperienced, who are easily misled, and knowledge and discretion, intelligent discernment to the youth. And especially in a world like we live in, and that's important because the people with so many distractions, the people they really move around the world and don't think. Like I really think people don't think. Like they just walking. Like they don't think about nothing. Like nothing in their head.
That's right. You're exactly right. People are already zombified through these devices and things. But go ahead.
Now that's it. I'll play some more of this video.
Where you go, what you could do, what you can buy. And now they're moving forward with what really Agenda 2030 is all about. And that is the carbon tax. This doesn't just tax you financially. It taxes you based on your behavior. And that's what they care about most. Dictating where you go, what you could do, what you can buy, how you can live, how much electricity you can use. That's what this is about. And this entire thing, which is framed as a climate initiative, would funnel billions of dollars to the United Nations. And who would be fronting the bill? Well, all of us will be fronting the bill. It's really a backdoor tax that nobody's going to be paying attention to because they don't even understand what climate change or the carbon tax is in the first place. This is a global wealth transfer. And I'm going to play for you this clip so you can see how smug and arrogant these people are, if you want to even call them people. Here is Arsenio Dominguez, who is the Secretary General of the IMO. And I want you to keep in mind, he says, I'm going to say trying because nobody is going to bring us down. These are people who are going to dictate the price of goods, who are going to pretty much funnel money out of the middle class back into the pockets of these global elites, if you want to call them that, into the United Nations and other organizations like this without these people ever being elected in the first place. He openly says with a smug look in his face that no one is going to bring us down, despite what these people have done over the last couple of years, despite the fact that they've openly done simulations telling you that they are going to ruin your life, that they are going.
Speaking on them simulation, I'm gonna skip it a little bit, but you know, they did a simulation for the CV and they actually brought it forth. What they did a simulation, as he gonna mention real quick, also for a famine, a food famine. So what you think gonna happen? They gonna bring it forth.
Going to do a simulation of how we're going to lock you inside for a couple of years, doing simulations on what the food shortage crisis is going to look like, because that's what's going to come of this carbon tax. You might not think it yet because you might say, well, we grow most of our food here in America. Well, when they start telling you that most of your food is made from imports from other countries, kind of like they did with Ukraine. Remember, all of a sudden, that whole thing with Ukraine happened and prices went up. And everyone said, why are we paying more money just because there's something going on in Ukraine? Oh, well, we don't grow wheat in America anymore, right? We get our majority of wheat from Ukraine. And people are going, huh? We don't grow wheat anymore? They are going to use this as a way to tax us, not these shipping companies, not these big corporations, us. And this is how they funnel money out of the middle class and put it back in their pockets. Listen to this clown talk about how no one is going to stop us.
Major world's largest shipping nations decided on Friday to impose a minimum tax of $100 for every ton of carbon dioxide emitted by ships if their planet-hitting emissions are not already accounted for.
Is the right result, is a good result for the organization. Takes us to one step closer to finalizing the first global mandatory measures when it comes to decarbonization, including a pricing mechanism. And that's what I reiterate my optimism.
The fee will be charged if nations have not contributed enough to the International Maritime Organization's Net Zero Fund and the ships are not emitting their compliance targets.
These agreements, we're the first one that get on that agreement on a pricing mechanism on emissions at the international global stage. And I just want to keep calling that rather than just looking and finding ways to trying, and I'm going to say trying because no one is going to bring us down, IMO into how short we fall. It's good that every now and then it's recognized how actually we good are at achieving what sometimes people think that is impossible for us.
One major issue during the meetings was the way a tax will be charged. More than 60 countries entered the negotiations, pushing for a simple tax charge per metric ton of emissions.
And it's amazing that they can sit there and say, look, we're doing what's in the best interest of humanity, right? They never address global cooling versus global warming. They don't address geoengineering, how they can make it rain in Dubai. But other countries.
I'm gonna skip it up a little bit. I think it was another point he said. I really don't know exact, but I'm gonna see.
Next, you thought it was bad with these people taking pictures of themselves, giving themselves shots and wearing masks out there and then shaming you, saying it's not so hard to wear a mask, even though nobody could breathe wearing one of these things on their faces. Well, next up will be their carbon emissions and how they start saying, look what I'm doing. We're having droughts in America, but you can make it rain in Dubai by cloud seeding because it's actually real, right? Well, we don't want to stop the droughts. Why would we want to do that when our plan is to starve you to death? Because remember, just like their hero, Henry Kissinger, they call him a war criminal. He's just a flat out satanic criminal in general. Don't forget what he once said. Who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy can control whole continents. Who controls money can control the world. Well, that's all three happening at once, because this will give them more control over the food supply chain. It'll give them more control over energy as far as how much energy you're allowed to use and consume. And of course, who controls the money? Because we're going to see a massive transfer of wealth. And when we talk about simulations like Event 201, some of you may not have seen this one, but they actually did a food chain reaction simulation in 2015 where they talked about just this type of thing happening. Civil unrest, people who are angry with rising food costs, right? Population growth, disease. How will we respond? They ran a simulation. Here's just a little trailer that they played for the simulation. Of course, this isn't a simulation. This is them carrying out their plans in real time. These simulations, of course, are just test runs. That's what they are. Just like they ran a test run on the 11th day of September, conveniently. Just like they ran a test run during the marathon at Boston, conveniently, right? Just like they ran a test run during Event 201. Look.
Around the globe, food prices have risen about 40% in the last year.
The severe drought in the Horn of Africa has reached famine conditions.
Violence breaks out in Somalia as demonstrators protesting rising food prices clash with police.
We are facing a humanitarian problem.
So they're agreeing to a global carbon price for shipping while everybody's distracted by all the nonsense they continue to distract everybody with. Let me give you a quick little rundown on what this is. The agreement would make shipping pay.
Right, and that's pretty much it. I know you got anything on the Tazapa?
Yeah, I mean, that right there, those taxes, as he was saying, being a transfer of wealth, there's your economic collapse, and then as well as your famine, which both will lead to civil unrest, you know, or chaos. And those carbon taxes are coming. Like he said, that's what 2030 is about. And that's what it's about, being able to tax every man, woman, and child on this earth after they get you CHIP, you know? And I was reading that comment on Draco, and I was thinking about, you know, I don't know the chick, she came out, she with Trump administration, but she was speaking about, you know, the people destroying these Teslas. And she was saying how they would be, you know, persecuted to the fullest extent of the law, all that, you know, whole 9 yard shit. And I was just thinking, you know, damn, all this for a Tesla? I mean, I get it. Nobody wants their property damaged, but universal law is you break, you buy. Shit, you fuck it up, you replace it. But they doing all this over cars when niggas was allowed to be, when black folk was allowed to be lynched, murdered. I ain't even talking about going back to, you know, hardcore chattel slavery, but in the Jim Crow time. And there wasn't no laws passed for us. And that's what I keep saying, you know, and this is because of prophecy with us being a no people. But this gives that much more significance to coming back to your nationality and learning these scriptures. Because as African, American, Black, Negro, whatever you want to call yourself, you have zero standing anywhere in this world. But as a Hebrew Israelite, you have standing, you know, because all that shit, that fictional shit, you know, the Lord created nations. He didn't create these bywords and all these names that y'all go by, you know. And so you're going to continue to suffer injustice. But it's gotten so bad, people don't even recognize the injustice. They will go all out for a fucking automobile and won't do shit for you. You know, and yeah, bro, go ahead. I ain't gonna get into that. We can get into the next one.
Now that video was the main thing. This just a quick highlight, but you know, just looking around at a couple of things that's happening. We ain't gonna read the whole thing, but it says even in Texas, And I believe I looked it up earlier. Well, I know I looked it up earlier, but I believe the number is 33 roughly, and this is from 2024, roughly 33 or so people in Texas. But right now it says as of right now, you got 5.1 million Texans that are at risk of hunger. You know, other than 1.9 families that's already through. And then, hey, what's another thing that's been coming out? They talking about at the food banks, they ain't really got it like that. The food banks who be feeding the less fortunate or the people who in need, they ain't really got it like that.
And remember, I think we brought it out on one of the shows last year. I think we brought that out with that Boar's Head scandal. Remember that scandal with Boar's Head? Deli meats and stuff. They said, oh, it was a recall. People was getting sick, and they was taking that shit underground to them bunkers. There wasn't nothing wrong with it. They was hoarding it. Didn't want you to eat it. So you got that going on. There's a lot going on. And speaking of these carbon taxes, next month in May on the 7th, real ID will be necessary for you to take out of international flight out of the U.S. In the U.S., as far as right now, they're saying you don't need it. But to fly outside of the U.S., you will need real ID. To go into federal buildings, you will need real ID. All right, they going in for the kill on this global shit. All right, that's a global ID. I don't need a global ID. I barely go out of Texas. Why I need a global ID? But that's because they're gonna be just like I spoke on earlier, and I said it maybe 3-4 shows ago. They're gonna be shipping people to where they need you. They know you do something in America, you don't even have to do nothing. And they send you to jail in your own hometown. You have to go to Venezuela. They might send you to China, put you in some fields. So they need a global ID on you.
IUIC will have to get a global ID.
They might as well. They're doing all that jet setting. Go and get you a real ID. You know, you want to be all over the world, and he saw, he'll set you up. But yeah, we close. We close. But go ahead.
Now, and two, my parents, they go on a lot of cruises. And one thing they told me was that, my mother, she was just kind of randomly talking, not even knowing we understand these things. But she was like, yeah, I had to give me some type of real ID or something. Cause them cruises be going, here in certain places. Yep. And she was like, yeah, I had to get a real ID. They said for, here in May, she said May 7th, they go start looking for certain, their real ID in order to go certain places. So even on cruises, but they go, gradually bring these things in, just like the famine. See, people waiting on when we say famine, people think it's just gonna be you wake up and just the exact day all hell break loose. That's when the famine goes start. No, it's already beginning. Like it's already like they would have said. We touched on it. I believe a couple months ago when all those recalls was coming on all type of food. All type of drinks.
Yeah, it was other food. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, and it had information come out said that they was taking all that recall food, though nothing was wrong with it, into underground bunkers, which would make sense according to what? According to prophecy, because we know people gonna be down there and they gonna need food. But
I know we did the story on the recall, but I couldn't remember if we had brought it out that they was hoarding the stuff.
I believe we read an article and played a video on it, if I'm not mistaken, but I know for sure we read an article on it. But not just
right. I remember. Yep, you're right. You're right.
But not just them doing that. Also, again, going into let's just read this because there's many things that have begun the famine, the food, the famine of the food. Remember, they ain't just saying no food at all. It's a lack of it. And the lack that
Yeah,
It's gonna be
right.
left.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
No access. That's why the Lord said his servants gonna eat. So it means there's gonna be food somewhere, but people not gonna have access. Just like the scripture say, you always go into 2 Ezra 15 that people shall desire to go into a city and shall not. It's just gonna be denied access. Now it's gonna be scarce, but yeah, whatever's out there, it's gonna be, I don't know. We have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nah, you good. You good. You good. I'll read this real quick and we can end it after this. And I put this in the chat, just going into just even that fast food. And this something else, Elder Tazapah. I'll send it to you, but you may mention it as going into America, how all this is a test run right now. Because we could look back at things that was like test runs for Esau, and we seen how it may have brought death. I forget how you said it at camp.
What
Experiment
was
is
it?
something that we in right now.
Oh
Like,
yeah, right. America was set up as that melting pot.
Con, you said some, and the point was like, for example, like the juices back then, like the
Oh, the
VAXs
case study. Yeah.
case study. Like we're going through a
Mhm.
case study right now. Like we don't know what, like us having radiation, meaning these cell phones and using this technology and social
Phones.
media,
Yeah, being
like
the
what that's gonna
social
lead.
media, all of this stuff, man. We in new territory in a lot of areas. And we don't know the long-term effects of a lot of things that we do right now. But yeah, I didn't know where you was going with it. You got it. I make your
Nah,
point.
kind of, but if I came out, I while through watching, kind of get what we saying, but like say like the VAXs back then, like people actually thought that was gonna help them and so on and so forth, but that was a case study. They were just trying stuff. They were
Hmm.
Esau just trying, just doing stuff. But now we see the effects of it, and it didn't profit. But we going through a live case study because things that what's going on right now never have been in world history. Like, and I want to make
Right.
this point, like you said, with the technology and all this. And I seen one thing the other day. It says how children who get on technology earlier, pretty much their brain is way less. I don't remember the word, but what it's supposed to be compared to a child who really don't be on it.
That's supposed to be, and I think that's where that point came from. Is that uh, humanity is losing its humanity. People are becoming less human, through these different technologies, phones, and all these devices. You know, um, I spoke about the GPS. A lot of people need GPS. You know, I don't need it. I get around the city like I've always done. Reading signs and remembering things, paying attention to landmarks, and I just have a decent sense of direction. You know, but phone numbers, we used to keep dozens of phone numbers just in our head off the dome. Family members, friends, girlfriends. You knew people numbers, and things like that kept you sharp. Kept your mind sharp. As into now, people just tuning in to their phone, tuning in to some type of screen, being fed info. It dulls the mind. We read, we get in these scriptures, right? We watch videos, but we read, we go out, we do lessons, we get fresh air, we in the sun. We're active. But a lot of these, especially these children that have these non-attentive parents, they might spend their whole day on the screen. Their life and their identity is in their screen. To them plugging into a CHIP won't be an issue. They're already addicted to the digital world. It's an addiction. I seen the video. You may have seen it. The mother took the phone away from the baby, and the baby went berserk.
Mm-hmm.
Had a fit. Talk about a tantrum. And then as soon as she gave the phone back, the baby was quiet.
Right, scrolling.
And went immediately to scrolling. And see, it's rewiring people's brain, and that's what I'm saying, man. If the Lord don't come back, you know, it won't. We know the end. It won't be no flesh. But what about all that in between? You see, and I think about all of the chaos that goes on in the world, and how does this attribute to that or play into it? You know, these devices, this social media world age that we're in. You know, when you read about a mother strangling her child on live stream, strangling her child, you know, that's not human. You know, we know the scriptures say that the love of many was going to wax cold in these last days, but people doing inhumane things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think she strangled the baby to death on while the live stream was going, and all kind of, you know, weird, demented shit that you hear. You know, it, it just makes one wonder. But yeah, you got it. I might have took you off of your thought.
No, that's spot on. Hey, that's the spirit. You know, the spirit go how I want to go. But the reason I brought that up is because I seen, you know, and going to, since we touching on food was the point. But this article dropped today from National News. I just threw it in the chat. It says health rangers. We ain't gonna read it. It's in the chat. It says health rangers, 11-year-old fast food museum. So he's been keeping fast food for a long time. It says reveals shocking lack of decay. Is fast food even real food? And you go into it. And when I seen this, like they ran an experiment, I thought of what you said, how all this is an experiment. Think about all this fast food that we all have to eat.
Exactly.
You know, all this
Roundup
mm-hmm.
in everything, these pesticides in us. Yeah, but go ahead.
Now that's it. So I just wanted to highlight that because that's, like you said, it's alive. And look, the MOTB, that's gonna be the main one right there. They're just gonna try something, right. And even that, by prophecy, we know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a cancer-like thing, a disease you're gonna catch, man.
Cause a lot of it will be trial and error when they roll this MOTB out. They ain't never. I mean, there's some people that got it, but you know, when they roll it out on the mass level and for it to do what they want it to do, they don't know.
When they turn the frequencies up,
right? And you know, come on.
When them diseases be out.
Hey, bro, they can have it. If that's what y'all want, y'all can have that. I seen too much Black Mirror for me.
Yeah, I gotta finish it tonight, Lord willing. Lord willing.
Yeah, Con, you off tomorrow, shit.
Yeah, but if you don't mind, I'll read this AI review overview real quick, and I got a precept for the families, and that's really it. We really been done for a minute, you know.
Right.
But real quick, I'll read this. So check this out. So, and two is more on this video that he gonna say is a lot more on this dude ones they can see, but you know, for time's sake. But check it out. So I just typed in on Google food shortages 2025, and this is what AI said. It says in 2025. Several factors could contribute to potential food shortages. Now, all the things that we're going to read are happening. It says, including climate change, which that's why they go say the carbon tax.
Right.
So what we'll just read, what the social credit scores, that's how they go issue that in. It says several factors could contribute to potential food shortages, including climate change, supply chain disruptions, and rising prices, potentially affecting access to common grocery items. While the American food supply may seem vast, experts predict that certain foods could become scarce due to unpredictable weather. Oh, and look what's been happening with the weather. It says with unpredictable weather, changes in immigration rules, we seeing that, and other challenges, whatever the Lord got going. But it goes into climate change, you know, the same thing we just read. But one thing I wanted to highlight, what people don't think about, when times get hard, ain't nobody going to restaurants no more. People going to go kind of wash their money. Well, they're going to say restaurants going to start to close. Businesses are going to start to be affected by this. So it's going to trickle down and affect everything, man. And then that's the day when people get tired and realize that they're going to try to run in the store, but it ain't filled with that anyway, like the banks. Like people think they got money just and the bank's full of money. You know, like if you
Right.
go rob and you open a vault and it's just like a video game, you just take all of it and run. And gold. Now, granted, they might have a little something up in there, you know, but it ain't like what you think it is, man. So that's that. And look, the Esau gradually put that in people's mind. So now people think banks fill with money. It's not. People go try to rob banks and all that. But the point is, people go running those stores at this time. But as we going into, Esau gradually took it away. Is in the bunkers now, right? Or is on a ship, whatever. But whatever, that's gonna be taken out in a day. People go run and kill each other for that food. But it says, you about to say something, Taza Paul?
No, I'm listening. Yeah.
It says, and it's another thing, because not just that, as we've been seeing since ice been rolling on the Northern Kingdom, haven't been having those workers in the fields no more either. And it says right here, changes in immigration policies could impact labor availability in agriculture, further straining the food supply chain. But where it was, I don't know where it was. It mentioned some like coffee and dairy products. It mentioned somewhere about, I may be skipping over it. Oh, something else I was looking at about the businesses, you know, in the restaurants, so on and so forth. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the point. I get second address if you ain't had nothing, and I get, you know, whatever.
No, sir, you good.
Kind of second Ezra chapter 16, and I start at 18. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great deaths. This is a start. It says the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, and what shall I do when these evils come? And as we read this, watch how many times it's going to mention a famine. Just to show us a big deal. It says, behold, verse 19, behold, famine and plague. That's famine again 2 times. Famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. And the Lord will do these things, one, for judgment on the people, but ultimately for correction. But as the people ain't got it, and they don't see that it's the Lord who doing it, they ain't gonna change. Fear ain't gonna be put into they gonna fear, but not a fear to push them towards repentance. And I mind you, at this time, some people go want to get right, but remember, when it's gonna be going on, what prophet you gonna be seeing on the streets? What video you gonna be going to? Ain't no video. So you gonna be looking on how to get right, how to repent. What's the Lord name? But ain't nobody gonna be around no more. So it says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn away from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Again, sword, famine. So the key word is grow right here. The things that is naming, they're going to grow upon the earth. It's going to get worse. People going to start killing each other more. It's going to be, again, a lack of food, even greater than what it is now. And this a heavy one, confusion. People really have already lost their mind. It's just that you still got red lights and stop signs and like laws right now. People already lost. They looking for a reason to just do what they want to do. But these things go grow upon the earth. It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish again of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, man. So a great famine is coming, a famine of the word, the Lord taking the truth away, and at the same time, he's going to starve these people out. And the only way to get the food is if you bow down to Esau's system, you know. But, you know, you got to advertise a power. You could take us out.
That's right. That's right. Well, man, water to you, brothers and sisters, the Akyam and the Akwas, for joining us for this Thursday watch. And before we get out of here, we like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Lachakodat. Give honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings to the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. All right, Lord willing, we still here. Next week, we'll do it again. So until then, shalom, much love.
Shalom.